Let's talk about AI, because I think we need to redefine what it actually means. You know that spell checker that saves you from embarrassing typos? Or the super smart enemies in your favorite video game? For years, we've called all that stuff AI. But what if I told you the definition is changing so fast, they might not even qualify anymore? Let's get into it.
So first up, your spell checker. It catches spelling mistakes, it gets grammar, it even understands context sometimes. It feels intelligent, doesn't it? For the longest time, we've all pointed to this as a simple, everyday example of AI. But that idea might be totally out of date.
Okay, what about something even more basic, like a sorting algorithm? You know, the code that can organize a million pieces of data in the blink of an eye. A human could never do that. That incredible speed, that perfect logic, it feels like a type of intelligence, for sure. And then, of course, you've got video game AI. These aren't just mindless drones running in a straight line anymore. They learn how you play, they adapt, they flank you, they seem to actually think. If anything we interact with feels like artificial intelligence, it's got to be this.
So for decades, if you asked if any of those things were AI, the answer was a clear yes. They were the poster children for the concept. But here's the thing. The world of AI is moving so ridiculously fast that the old rulebook is being completely thrown out. The goalposts have not just moved, they're in a completely different stadium now.
And that brings us to the first big idea here. AI is basically a moving target. What seems like some sci-fi, genius-level tech today ends up being a standard, boring feature on your phone tomorrow.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? As our technology gets better and better, our standards for what we call intelligent get higher and higher. The bar is constantly being raised.
You know, a perfect example of this is a calculator. A few hundred years ago, a device that could do math instantly would have seemed like pure magic, a literal thinking machine. Today, it's an app that comes with your phone. That's exactly what's happening to a lot of what we used to call AI. Once we figure it out and it becomes common, it stops feeling special. It just becomes, well, software.
So, if the old definitions are obsolete, what are we replacing them with? Well, let's dive into the new set of rules, a totally new framework that's based not on how AI thinks, but purely on how it performs.
Okay, so the new definition is actually super simple. It really boils down to 3 benchmarks. To be considered AI now, a system has to do one of 3 things. It has to deliver better results than a trained human professional, or it has to get comparable results but do it faster and using less energy, or, obviously, do both. So it's not about pretending to think like a person anymore. It's all about delivering superior, measurable outcomes. This is a massive change, and if you want to keep up with how big ideas like this are evolving, this is probably a good time to hit that subscribe button for more explainers just like this one.
But there's a really important catch here. This high-level performance, it has to do it on its own. Humans are only allowed to step in under really exceptional circumstances, like if the core math of the system completely fails. Basically, the AI can't have its hand held.
And this next part really highlights the shift. There's a huge new focus on physical efficiency. It's not good enough to just be fast. A true AI has to be energy efficient. And the new standard is a direct scientific comparison. How many watts of electricity does the computer use versus how many calories a human would burn to do the exact same job?
So when you put all of this together, it points to a massive philosophical shift. We're not so obsessed anymore with trying to copy the process of how humans think. Now, the entire focus is on the performance, the final result.
So yeah, the new test for AI is pretty straightforward. Does it do better work? Is it faster? Does it use less energy? If you can answer yes to at least one of those, it's on its way to being considered genuinely intelligent by today's standards.
And what that means is all those complex things we usually associate with AI, machine learning, exploring possibilities, adapting, they're now seen as just part of the process, not the end goal itself. They're signs that a system is on its way to becoming intelligent, but the real proof is in that final superior output.
All right, let's bring this all the way back to the beginning. Remember our spell checker, our sorting algorithm, and our video game enemies? It's time to put them to the test against this new, much stricter definition. Let's see who makes the cut.
And the verdict is pretty brutal. The sorting algorithm and the spell checker, nope, they don't qualify anymore. They're now considered solved problems. They're just standard tools that help humans. They don't outperform us. But an AI like AlphaStar, which plays the game StarCraft 2 at a level that crushes the best human players on the planet, now that is the new gold standard for artificial intelligence. It doesn't just help, it completely dominates.
So really, the biggest takeaway here is that the bar for what gets to be called AI has been raised a lot.
Many of those complex things we've been calling AI for years are, under this new definition, more accurately just really, really advanced and efficient software.
And this leaves us with a final, kind of mind-bending idea to chew on. With this new definition, the very act of learning or exploring is only a temporary sign of intelligence. Once a problem is well and truly solved, what's left behind isn't an act of intelligence anymore, but the powerful result of it, a perfectly tuned, optimized tool.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Look at the tech you use every single day. Your phone's keyboard that predicts your next word, your navigation app, your music recommendations. With these new rules in mind, which of those things are truly intelligent and which are just incredibly effective pieces of software? I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for tuning in.